Right now, while you're watching this, there's money sitting in your bank account from your last paycheck.
Feels safe, doesn't it? That direct deposit.
That predictable number, every 2 weeks, like clockwork.
But what if I told you that feeling of safety is exactly what's trapping you? That your salary isn't security at all, but the most perfectly designed cage ever created.
See, here's what nobody tells you when you sign that employment contract.
Your boss isn't paying you what you're worth. They're paying you just enough to keep you from leaving. Think about that for a second. Your entire financial life is built around the absolute minimum someone else decided you deserve.
And you wake up every day, put on those clothes, sit in that traffic, and convince yourself this is normal.
But it gets darker, because that salary, it's doing something to your brain that you haven't even noticed yet. You know that Sunday night feeling? That pit in your stomach when the weekend's ending? That's not stress. That's withdrawal. Your body has become so dependent on that paycheck, so terrified of losing it, that it's literally created an addiction response. You're not going to work because you want to. You're going because your brain is screaming at you that you need to, just like any other drug. And here's the cruelest part. They know. Your employer knows exactly how much money you need to survive. Rent, car payment, groceries, maybe that one streaming service you refuse to give up. They've calculated it. HR has spreadsheets. They know that if they pay you enough to cover your bills, plus just a little extra, you'll stay. You'll complain, sure. You'll fantasize about quitting. But you won't actually leave. Because leaving means losing the drug. Think about the last time you got a raise. Remember how good it felt? That rush. You probably went out to celebrate, maybe bought something you'd been wanting. But what happened next? Within 3 months, that raise disappeared. Not because you spent it all, but because your lifestyle expanded exactly to match it. New subscription here, nicer lunch there, maybe you moved to a slightly better apartment. And suddenly, you needed that new salary just as badly as you needed the old one. This is called the hedonic treadmill, and your employer is counting on it. They give you just enough of a bump to keep the dopamine flowing, knowing you'll trap yourself even tighter with new expenses. You're not climbing a ladder. You're running in place, and every raise just speeds up the treadmill. But let's talk about what this drug is actually doing to your life. You're trading hours you'll never get back for money that disappears before you even see it. Your time with your kids? Traded. Your health? Traded. That book you wanted to write, that business idea you had, that place you wanted to visit, while your body still works. All of it traded for the temporary relief of seeing that direct deposit notification. And you can't even spend the money on what matters because you're too exhausted from earning it. Ever notice how you waste money on weekends? Expensive brunch, impulse purchases, entertainment you're too tired to enjoy. That's not you being irresponsible. That's you medicating the pain of selling your life in pieces. You're trying to buy back the feeling of freedom with the very money that's keeping you trapped. Your salary isn't just limiting your income. It's limiting your imagination. You don't think in possibilities anymore. You think in payments, car payments, house payments. The payment on that couch you'll replace in 5 years. You've been conditioned to think that's responsible. That's being an adult. But really? You're just a well-trained consumer, and your salary is the leash. Here's something that'll make you uncomfortable. Your boss makes money from your work, right? They're not running a charity. So whatever they pay you, they're making more from your effort. Maybe double, maybe 10 times more, maybe 100. You're the one doing the work, creating the value, solving the problems, but someone else is deciding what tiny fraction of that value you deserve. And you accepted it. You negotiated, maybe, asked for an extra week of vacation, but you accepted the fundamental premise that someone else owns what you create. That's not a job. That's a slow-motion robbery that you've been taught to call a career. And the really insidious part? The system has convinced you that this is the safe option, that starting your own thing is risky, that building something is dangerous. But think about this. You have one source of income. One. If your company has layoffs, if your boss doesn't like you, if the economy shifts, if AI takes your job, you go to zero.
Instantly. All your eggs in one basket that someone else is carrying.
How is that safe? Meanwhile, people building their own income streams, creating their own value, owning their own time, they might have 10 different ways money flows to them. But somehow, you've been convinced they're the ones taking the crazy risk. Your salary is killing your potential. Every year you stay, you get better at your job, which sounds good until you realize what that actually means. You're getting better at making someone else rich. You're sharpening skills that only have value inside someone else's system. You're becoming more competent at your own imprisonment. And time is moving. It's moving right now while you watch this. You're closer to retirement, closer to looking back and asking if this was really how you wanted to spend the one life you get. Your kids are getting older. Your parents are getting older. Your body is getting older. But here's what I need you to understand. I'm not saying quit your job tomorrow. Wake up to what's happening. That salary isn't your friend. It's a sedative. The first step to breaking any addiction is admitting you have one. So, admit it. You're addicted to that paycheck. You've organized your entire life around it. You make decisions based on it. You're scared to lose it. That's addiction. But here's the thing about waking up. Once you see the cage, you can't unsee it. That job you go to tomorrow? You're going to feel it differently. That meeting that could have been an email? You're going to feel the weight of your time being stolen. You're going to feel the weight of your time being stolen. You're going to feel the weight of your time being stolen. That direct deposit? You're going to feel the handcuffs, not the security. And that feeling, that discomfort, that's not depression. That's clarity. That's your brain finally recognizing that you've been accepting crumbs from a table you built. And what you do with that clarity is going to determine whether you look back on your life with pride or regret. The drug is strong. I know, but you're stronger. The question is whether you'll prove it